right, so you've decided you want to start a garden. Now, where the heck do you begin? When do you water these plants? What plants do you grow? How do you grow them? What kind of requirements do they need? It all seems like a really complicated process. Hi everyone, it's Lindy from Small Town Garden Life. Thank you so much for joining us for this garden masterclass hosted by Rebel Gardens on how to get your kitchen garden started off right. My name is Lindy, for those of you that don't know, and I am going to teach you guys about garden planning. Garden planning is one of my absolute favorite things to do because I live in an area where we get pretty cold winters, and whenever I have nothing to do, I can always garden plan. So stick around if this is something you're interested in watching. Now, if you guys aren't following me already on YouTube and Instagram, head over to Small Town Garden Life, where I share daily tips on how to get your garden growing right. If this is something that you like, make sure to subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and hit the notification bell so that way you're notified every time that I make a new video. All right, so you've decided you want to start a garden. Now, where the heck do you begin? When do you water these plants? What plants do you grow? How do you grow them? What kind of requirements do they need? It all seems like a really complicated process, right? Don't worry, it is not as hard as it looks. My main advice to you is to just get started. It can look really intimidating and you feel like you have to have this picture perfect Instagram garden, but you definitely don't. You can plant a garden in any container. And today I'm gonna take you around my garden and show you where I have some things planted. So let's go. All right guys, so I am out in my garden and I just want to give you a little piece of advice. If you're a beginning gardener, don't feel like you have to have a ton of acreage to start a garden. You don't have to have these amazing built raised beds. You don't have to have like 5 acres that you can till up. All you need are a few small containers. So let me walk you around my garden and show you what I have growing. Now it is mid-April here and I do live in Central Illinois, which is right on the border of Zone 5 and Zone 6. Now some of you may be asking, what the heck is a zone and what are you talking about? When it comes to gardening, your zip code matters. So what you can do is go to farmersalmanac.com, put in your zip code, and it'll tell you exactly what your growing zone is. Now, the reason that this is important is because some plants do not like to grow if there's frost in the forecast. For example, warmer plants like tomatoes will die if you put them outside when it's gonna frost. So a frost means any temperature that is below 32 degrees, you're not gonna wanna put most plants outside. I'll go into detail on that in another video a little bit more, but that's the main thing that you need to know. So determine your growing zone and then go from there. So when you're wondering what kind of containers you can grow your plants in, you can really choose any container that you have. If you look over here, I have some old tin galvanized raised beds that I actually have snap peas growing in. And you can get super creative with things. I bought these bamboo poles off of Amazon and my beans are gonna trellis up that, but you definitely do not have to get that fancy. Now, if you come this way in the garden, last summer we built these raised beds. Now these came from Lowe's Home Improvement. This is called a planter wall block, and all you have to do is slide a board in. There is no nailing or screwing, and you have raised beds. Last but not least, the one thing I want to show you is these felt bags from Amazon. You can get 6 of them for $10, and I have potatoes growing in them, but you can grow any plant that you want. So get creative with your beds, but don't feel like you have to spend a ton of money. Now, whenever I'm talking to people about gardening, a lot of people ask me, what plant should I grow? Which is a great question. My advice to them is always grow what you're gonna eat. I know it's nice to look on Instagram and see all these beautiful gardens filled with a ton of plants and a ton of different crops, but why would you grow something if you're not gonna eat it? I myself have been guilty of that. I've grown eggplant for years now and I hate eggplant. So if you don't like eggplant, don't grow it. A thing I always recommend for beginners is a salsa garden. Almost everyone likes salsa and it's not hard to grow the ingredients. So start with a tomato plant, start with a pepper plant, and start with some cilantro. Those are things that you can grow easily in containers and things that will produce a good harvest for you the first year. Another great question that I get a lot is, where do you get your plants from? Now, I think it's always best to support local, so if you have a local nursery, I highly recommend getting your plants from there. However, if that's something that's not available to you, they sell plants at most hardware stores like Lowe's, Menards, and even Walmart. So head over there, and a good rule of thumb is if the garden center has the plant out, that's a good chance that you can probably have it outside yourself. Now, buying your plants from big box stores can get a little expensive. You can start your seeds indoors yourself, but I don't necessarily recommend that for the beginning gardener. I will do some more videos on my channels later about that, but for now, if you're a beginner, just stick to buying plants from the big box stores. I think one thing that holds beginning gardeners back is that they're afraid they're not going to know how to care for their plants. Caring for plants is super easy. All plants really want is sunshine, water, and soil. Now, I love to use the app From Seed to Spoon. I am not sponsored by them. I just find it incredibly helpful. So I'm going to insert a clip here and show you guys exactly how to use it, how to put in your zip code, and how to figure out when you can plant things.
Okay, you guys, so this is the app that I was talking about. It's completely free from the App Store. It's called From Seed to Spoon. Now, if you go over to the side, you can actually input your exact zip code. I'm not going to show you that just for obvious privacy reasons, but let's pretend we are going to grow acorn squash. So I'm going to click on that, and it is going to give me a complete guide on how to grow it. So it'll tell me when to plant it in the spring, summer, and fall. And then it gives me the frost tolerance, the sprout harvest, water requirements, fertilizer. Another really amazing thing about this app is if you look at the top, it is going to show you friends. So if I click on that, this just means plants that you can plant next to an acorn squash that will be beneficial towards it. If you click on the pests tab, it's also going to show you every pest that could possibly be bothering your acorn squash. So if you're noticing you're having issues, you can go on here and find the exact bug that's been bothering your plant. So thank you so much From Seed to Spoon for making this app. Like I said, I'm not sponsored. I just think it's a really, really great resource.
Now, one of the most fun things about gardening is watching your plant go from a tiny little plant to harvest, when you can actually get produce from what you've grown. One of the things that you can do is go to Walmart or go to a local grocery store and see what their produce looks like. That'll give you a good idea of what yours should look like when it's finally time to harvest. I just want to remind you that everyone starts out as a beginner gardener. I did not start out knowing all that there is to know about plants, and I still have a lot to learn. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. There are no stupid questions. Message me, go to YouTube, go to Instagram, go to Pinterest, ask your friends, ask your grandma, ask anyone you know who loves plants, and they should be able to give you some good tips and tricks. So thank you so much for watching this course on how to get your kitchen garden started off right. If you guys like what you saw, make sure to head over to my YouTube and Instagram, and I will see you in the next video.